I can transition now to the topic of our tonight's call, overcoming objections. How many of us here, when a friends say no, or we get so discouraged, or how do I bring up the topic, or especially just not knowing, how do I overcome objections? How do I build this business in a world where there are so many, challenges? And the number one challenge, of course, is our own self-doubt, our own self-worth, and our friends and family and people around us will always pick up on that. And so tonight you're going to have the privilege of hearing from Loretta Koeth. I know her. She's done this training many times, and I always love it, as you'll hear, that many people always request it. So there's a lot of great tips in here. I invite you to get a pad and paper out, take some notes, find some of those inspirational key points. So let us get started. Wendy Campbell will be doing the introduction.
Loretta Koeth, you have to know, she was requested over and over and over again because this talk that she does on embracing the objection cycle has been shared far and wide. But then what I believe happens, Loretta, is the same like with me. When we're teaching on a subject, we keep getting better and better and more able to impart what it is that we're trying to teach. And so we are always excited when we get to hear you. And let me tell you a little bit more about Loretta. She has a long history in the community of Northeast Ohio, starting her first business at the age of 26. And driven by her desire to help people succeed, Loretta founded the Business Exchange Incorporated, one of the largest and most successful networking organizations in Ohio, where she functioned as president for 13 years. During that time, Loretta served as the chairperson for the Hunger Network of Greater Cleveland and has personally helped raise over $1 million for them. She currently serves as the volunteer wellness educator for Lifeline Pregnancy Center in Wilmington, North Carolina. She also leads a small group at Life Point Church, Eagle Wings Single Moms Store. 14 years ago, Loretta sold her company to pursue a new dream in the growing field of health and wellness. She is a certified personal trainer and functions as a lifestyle coach and helps people get and stay healthy. Loretta has reached the level of National Marketing Director and 50 Club member for the Juice Plus Company. She was nominated for 12 Club Member of the Year at the Elton Awards in 2008 and 2010 and 2011, and 24 Club Member of the Year in 2014. In 2010, she was a breakout trainer at the National Leadership Conference and was a main stage presenter at the Long Beach Conference in 2013. She is a graduate of Baldwin-Wallace College with a BA in Business and Psychology, and she's living her dreams residing in Carolina Beach, North Carolina, and is the mom to Cameron, 30, featured in the Nurses DVD, and is married to Mary, and then she has Kristen, 22, and Kaylee, 20. And Loretta's mission is to impact as many people as possible to live long and die short and to reach their full potential. So I would love to give to you Loretta Koeth. Take it away, Loretta. We're so excited.
Thank you so much for inviting me back to share this message that seems to be one that we always need to revisit. And I think there's good reason for it. I think I've seen all too often in my 16-year journey with the Juice Plus Company, too many awesome, beautiful people that should be part of our mission get put on the sidelines because they don't know how to respond to people when they object or make a negative statement, or they end up thinking that they're not going to be any good at this, or they end up thinking that they just don't know, how to handle it. And so this all came out of that years ago, and we've just continued to share this message. It's just kind of time to revisit it. Just to give you a very brief of my story for anyone new on this call, introduced to Juice Plus 16 years ago. It changed my life, changed the health picture of two of my kids. I have never looked back. I said yes to this business at the same time I started on the product because I'm a smart entrepreneur who wanted to get the best possible price, already had some people interested, but had no intention of building it as a business. But I would love for people to get that ignorance on fire up front when you're new can often be much better than education on ice, and that's what I was. I just shared information with people. So probably my best tip tonight is don't complicate this, don't say a lot, and give information. And that's what I was doing. All I would do was hand a tape and say, oh, my gosh, you have to listen to this. And by doing that with over 50 people, I fast-tracked and ended up a sales coordinator before I knew what that meant. And when the company started sending me $500 a month checks, I started paying attention. And it was a good thing because a few months after that, I ended up going through divorce after 17 and a half years of marriage. I ended up selling a beautiful home we had built just a few years earlier and became a single mom. And within a year after that, a sole provider of my 3 kids. And that has been the story of my life, all of this journey. I have had several other blips in the road along it, but I have always had to provide for my family. Actually, 80% of all women will provide for themselves at some point, and I don't know what I would have done without my Juice Plus franchise. This franchise has not only permitted me to not be pretty much in the fetal position in the corner out of stress and wondering how I'm going to pay for 3 kids and their school fees and their school supplies and all that they need. It was also about creating opportunity for them. I know if there are moms on this phone, you understand the desire to allow your kids to do and become what they were created to do. And as a single mom, it was a stretch, but I kept growing my Juice Plus business. And it permitted me to put my daughter in vocal lessons and my other daughter in tennis and my son in golf. And by the time my girls were in high school, I had made it to national marketing director and was able to sell my personal training studio and become a work-at-home mom, one of the greatest achievements of my life, to be honest. And I've been a work-at-home woman ever since. It was just phenomenal. 18 months later, I sold my personal training studio. 4 years ago, I picked up and left Cleveland, Ohio, and pursued a dream to live near the ocean, and that's where I reside now. And I blew out the 6-figure income a long time ago, and I've never looked back. This has been the greatest journey and the greatest opportunity. So I'm here tonight to make sure that none of your dreams escape you. It's because of objections or because of the fear of rejection. I really believe that it starts with that sometimes. And so I'm first going to just go over what I believe are some people skills. If you develop them more keenly, first of all, you would avoid more objections. People would object less. Number 1, learning to assert yourself positively. But there's a big difference between being aggressive about what we know. I think some people come out so strong, they want to tell everybody what they found. They want to explain what Juice Plus is, and they want to, I want to say, kind of shove it down their throat. And that's what I'm going to caution you. I want you to talk to people. I want you to share your story. I want you to be pleasant and engage in conversations, but you've got to recognize that the skill number 2, after you've asserted yourself to share your story, is your next step is to take a genuine interest in them. You back off of telling and you begin to ask questions. That's how we take a genuine interest in others. And you can't fake this. People know when you are real and genuine and authentic. They know when you're truly asking questions because you're interested in their answers. And, Wendy, you taught me a long time ago about duct tape, and I've never forgotten, right? I mean, when we ask the question, we have to stop talking. And for people like you and I, Wendy, that's hard. We're talkers by nature. We love to share, but we will get our chance to do that, but not in the initial interaction with people. So after you've taken a genuine interest, your third skill is to become a great listener. People, actually, we've only reached 25% of our listening capabilities. It's one of our weakest links because our minds are churning. We're always thinking about what we're going to say. We're often distracted, okay? So another thing is, I caution you, are you able to listen to people? Can you put your cell phone in your back pocket or throw it in your purse while you're engaging with someone? Or are you constantly looking down? Can you learn to control distractions enough to actually take that genuine interest in people? Be all in when you're, having this chance for interaction. So listening is huge, and we have to work on it. We have to learn to paraphrase back, make sure people know that they were understood, and continue to ask those questions. The fourth people skill is become knowledgeable and skillful in this particular area. You are choosing to have a Juice Plus franchise. I almost guarantee that anyone on this call, either at the very bare minimum, wants to make enough to pay for them and all their families to eat as much Juice Plus as possible, or generate a part-time residual income to offset family costs, to create chances for college funding, retirement planning, all those needs. Or many of you came to this call because you would love to be in the position of National Marketing Director with a benefits package. So whatever the desire is, how do we think we can come to this and never have to invest in ourselves to become skillful or knowledgeable? And I'm not talking about knowledge in nutrition at all. Okay, we have the Campbell Team website, we have Mission Journal Model, we have the YouTube channel, we have our JuicePlus.com, our virtualfranchise.com. The resources are endless to share Juice Plus. You need nothing more than the simple tools that we have. Your job then becomes to invite people to listen to experts in the area of nutrition. So encourage you. The area to become knowledgeable and skillful are using the tools that we have, knowing where they are, knowing how to access them. And the skills that you need are how to be in a direct selling business, how to share our product effectively, how to ask for the order, how to serve your customers, how to lead a team. And those are going to come from you reading books. So the knowledge and the skill that you need, we can guide you to that, but let's start today. Don't wait and just give up and put yourself on a sideline or get out of line because you are lacking a few of the skills. I believe everything that you need to become successful is available to you. And the fifth skill is you have to learn after interacting with people and sharing Juice Plus is to let go of the outcome and quit trying to control the situation. The key is in the numbers of people that you share. So I think too many times we've shared with a small numbers of people and we're frustrated because they're not jumping all over and saying, all right, I'm ready to buy Juice Plus. And so keep in mind, too, is part of it is just not controlling that outcome. You won't, but to talk to more people that will allow you to engage in conversation. Okay, so I also think there is a very important aspect of being an example. If you are, doing the Shred 10, you are doing one simple change, you are drinking more water, they see you on the health journey, wow. Now you are also eliminating more and more objections because their walls are dropping when it comes to engaging with you. So I just wanted to start by giving you a few of the tips that you need to even be thinking about, let's just eliminate the idea of objections or negativity by being that kind of person that actually attracts and draws people to you where they're going to want to know what you have to say, okay? Also, your next step when you have, and I have a new training. It is called Don't Skip Steps. I think too many times we jump ahead of where people are. We have to be able to use our intuition. We have to be able to use our good listening skills to really assess where people are at and not try to push them forward too soon. And there are basically 5 obstacles ever in the process of inviting people to start on Juice Plus or your team. There's no need. Okay, well, let's face it. Is that really even an obstacle? We know that everyone needs Juice Plus. We know that almost everyone needs additional income. But do they know they need it? We may have to back off and educate the need for fruits and vegetables first before they know that they need Juice Plus. So no need. Do they have a need? And why are we banging our heads against the walls with people who don't care about whether they're healthy or not? So they have to know there's a need. I think that's pretty obvious right now. It's becoming more and more obvious. The second obstacle would be there's no money. Well, I would say I hate to say that never, but I rarely get a money objection, and we're going to cover that in a minute. It's because I am so rock solid that $4.42 a day for trio capsules and a complete is cheap. There is nothing else I could do anywhere in the world every day for myself physically and, food-wise that even compares. So, and if you drive around your town, what do you see? Every fast food line full, every Starbucks line full, every restaurant packed. You have to go to 3 or 4 before you find a seat because people do have money. They're out spending it, okay? Then there's also the obstacle of no hurry. And this one always drives me crazy. The fence sitter. They just don't know how to make a decision to save their life. Now, I've been known to, if I've done enough sharing and I think I've already done my due diligence, that I pretty much tell those people, can I have your credit card? I'm going to get your first box shipped, because sometimes the no-hurry people just need a little push, but in a good way. And we'll talk about that in a second. Or no desire. Again, be careful. Are you, drilling the person who's like still smoking, still doing other things, doesn't really care, isn't interested in health and nutrition? There might not be desire. There are people still out there like that. Move on more quickly from those people. And that doesn't mean you might not circle back around, but you cannot force this. And the last obstacle, and this is all from Zig Ziglar, by the way, is no trust. And if there's no trust, that will be the biggest obstacle you'll have. You have to build trust with people. And how do you build trust? You build trust by having integrity, by being a person of your word, by doing the follow-through and the follow-up. That's why people, they always ask me about, they're so afraid of the big, heavy phone of following up, and I'm so afraid of not, because I think it's the professional thing to do. If you approach this as a professional, doing a professional service, doing a professional job of making sure that you have answered questions, provided information, and gone through the process of helping someone make a decision, either yes or no, to Juice Plus, you're going to build tremendous trust. People actually value that. They don't see it every day. So when you set yourself apart from everyone else by getting through that obstacle of trust quickly, wow, it makes doing this business so much fun. So how do you handle objections? Well, first of all, you need to, the very first step that you want to do is your job is not to sell Juice Plus to them. Your job is to influence them to look at the information. That's what we want. We want them to look at the information or attend an event that's going to share the information. So I think we jump the gun when we share our story and we expect someone to kind of be all over that, or we might give them one exposure and think, okay, here we go, we're going to get an order, and we don't realize that, we just first need to make sure they're willing to get their walls down and actually watch the video or actually attend the event or actually look at your information or website. Second, you have to be persistent. And I'm going to give you a quote on persistence. It's not a negative. Being persistent can be highly pleasant, okay, pleasantly persistent. It's influential. You're not being obnoxious. You're not going to be someone, if you do it in a proper way, which is professional, okay? I also like to plan my follow-up. Did I take notes when I spoke to the person? I will often, I use a connection form myself, and I jot notes. I'm sloppy. It's not pretty. It's all shoved in a binder. Trust me. My details are not my strength, but I do capture that information. So when I go to follow up, my first follow-up is going to be, oh, my gosh, you told me that, you've been so frustrated with, one of your sons who won't eat any fruits or vegetables, and you've been so tired lately. I know that's why you wanted to look at the videos. Have you done that? So in the follow-up, I'm going to paraphrase back to them by those great listening skills I used exactly what it was that they needed to do or they wanted to do before I asked anything else. Secondly, or thirdly, you're going to not be defensive. You have to take a deep breath. No matter what someone says to me or you cannot let your defense go up. The boxing gloves cannot come on. It's not your chance to get into an argument or to try to, persuade someone to hear your side and to believe Juice Plus is everything you want them to be. You actually have to take the exact opposite approach. No defenses. Try to empathize with people. They don't know what they don't know. They're influenced by the media. They've got family influences. They're coming from whatever framework that they've been given about nutrition. So meet people exactly where they're at and don't be defensive. And what we're going to learn tonight is my entire training is every time somebody gives you an objection or a negative statement or any kind of statement that makes you feel a little freaked out, you're going to ask a question. You may end up asking 4 to 5 questions in a conversation without saying anything, okay? So really important is don't skip those steps, okay? So let's go over a few of them. So you shared your story, and they said, oh, I already eat healthy. How many times do we get this? I get this one a lot. I love this. Well, what I've watched reps do is, well, there's no way that you're getting 45 whole food, sources like we get in the Juice Plus. And there's nobody that's getting 9 to 13 raw, fresh fruits and vegetables every day. Did you know that? And you're going into telling. You're going into telling, and what you're going to do is the person's going to take 2 steps back away from you. When somebody says, oh, I already eat healthy, does not mean they do not want Juice Plus. As a matter of fact, that's one of the most exciting statements somebody can give to me, because my brain's thinking, oh, great, they're already into this. They're going to be on my team. Like, my brain goes completely the opposite. What I'm going to do is I'm going to engage in a great conversation with that person. I'm going to say, oh, my gosh, that's music to my ears. Where do you shop? Do you buy organic? What's your philosophy about organic? How long have you been choosing a healthy lifestyle? Tell me more about how your family's doing. And by the time they're done telling me what a rock star they are on healthy habits, I'm going to tell them at the follow-up of multiple questions, oh, my gosh, you are going to be all over this information. This is right up your alley. I cannot wait to share this video with you. Check it out. Their defenses are completely down. They're completely open now, and they're ready to talk to you further. Okay, I know the big one. I heard it today on a connection call. Somebody said, well, the one thing that I'm running up against is people saying that I can't afford it or it's too expensive. So, first of all, my best advice for you tonight is, if you're getting a lot of that, is to get, number one, a gut check on your own perspective. I often find that the people that get that a lot are people that are still rocky about their own investment in Juice Plus. They're still nervous about the fact that they've invested in it. They've got a little bit of scarcity going on. Finances are tough in their life, or whatever. Maybe it's just your history and the way you were brought up is to have scarcity. But get that in check. Say to yourself every day, $4.42 a day is worth this trio and a capsule and my shake. This is cheap for families to get healthy. It costs way more to be sick. You're going to have to retrain your brain, first of all. But also, I would encourage you to not get anywhere near price until you have created value. The way you do that is education. And the only way is why I'm telling you your job is to do the educator before we even talk about closing the sale. We're rushing to that spot and being discouraged too soon. Okay, so I can't afford it, it's too expensive, in my opinion, has come because someone says, how much is the cost? And you're like, $71.25 a month. And they're going, oh, man, a big monthly thing in my budget. I don't really, I don't want to add things to my budget. You're moving them to the cost before they know the value. So number one, educate. Make sure that you're ready to say, are you ready to get started, and that they've reviewed several videos, they've attended an event. Again, are you skipping steps? Now, if by chance they ask you, they say it's too expensive, a question, well, how did you come up with that decision? Tell me more about that. Why do you think that? What are you comparing it to? There might be 3 questions that I can engage back in a conversation. If they use I can't afford it, I'll say, wow, you said you were so excited, and here's what you loved about Juice Plus, because, again, we've had all this going on. I'll say, if you could afford it, would you want it? Let's clear that up, because, in my opinion, usually this objection is actually something else. There's actually some other objection going on that we need to get to the bottom of. So you want to make sure that you don't let that sideline you. Okay, maybe I will have to check with my doctor. I'm not going to say, well, average doctor spends 3 minutes in an office visit. An average doctor only has 3 hours of training in the area of nutrition. No, because that's insulting the person. If they're throwing that out, it might be just to put you, they want to be on the fence. They're not ready to make a decision. It might just be because, it's just a put-off often. But instead, I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to say, oh, who is your doctor? How long have you been going to them? Is that where you turn to for nutritional advice? How much time have they spent educating you on nutrition? And so I'll ask those 3-4 questions, which, by the way, Wendy, I do have a document that supports all this with each of these things with the questions. If there's a way for us to post that somewhere, that might be something that we can do for everyone that's listening.
Okay.
So we'll, check with your doctor. Many questions, they're talking to you, and then I'll say, let me ask you this. if you were to tell your doctor that you were going to add more fresh raw fruits and vegetables to your diet, what do you think they would say? And 9 times out of 10, will move right through that objection after the conversation occurred. I'll go over one more. I found negative information on the internet. I never let this rattle me. I love this one because it just drives me nuts, to be honest, because we know that we have less negative information than Target, and almost all of us love Target, right? It's a great store, it has great stuff, but, people say negative things. So I don't get rattled. I'm not getting defensive. I'm just saying, oh, what'd you see? So for me, it's just a question. Tell me more about it. Where did you find that? Who was the person that wrote it? What kind of credentials did they have? By now, they don't have the answers, and they're second-guessing themselves without me telling them to second-guess themselves. And then I'm going to say, it sounds like you really love to peruse the internet for information. And then we move on. Okay, so getting the hang of this, it doesn't matter what objection, it's questions to engage in conversation, okay? So remember, a sale is not something you pursue. It's what happens to you while you are immersed in serving people. So how about a couple of product objections? Oh, I can't get Johnny to take the Juice Plus. That, you're following up and the child is not eating the Juice Plus. I'm going to tell you that a lot of product objections where people are, not taking it, they're running to send it back, they don't want any more, I'd have to say I, first of all, treat the Children's Health Study with very kid gloves. Not anybody just signing up for that and getting free product. I want to make sure there's an education. I want to make sure that the parent's very excited about Juice Plus. I will have sent soft chew sample packs for the child to try it. I will have asked the parent, so how committed are you to making sure Johnny gets the Juice Plus? I know you've expressed to me that he's picky. I'm going to be, asking questions to their commitment. So we want to be careful. Maybe it's I can't remember to take their Juice Plus. You're going to ask questions. Well, when are you trying to take it? Where is your Juice Plus located in your house? I'm going to ask several questions, and I'm going to say, would you be open to me working with you to see if we can't establish that habit better? So, how about I'm having gas, I'm having all these reactions. And I'm going to tell you, I'm seeing more and more, and Wendy, I've got to believe you would concur with this, is we're seeing a lot more detox with Juice Plus because people they're messed up. They've been on all these pharmaceuticals, they're eating so poorly, they're genetically modified, they're coming to us in a little worse state than they used to be in. Plus, we're often getting them on all the products up front, so they're going to detox. So my suggestion to you is prepare. I've got at my fingertips detox information right from the Campbell Team website. Wendy, I still have your audios that you did on VoiceCom handy I've got the tools. So I'm ready for that. But also I'm preparing them up front. Listen, from what you described to me, we're probably going to have some stuff going on when you first start Juice Plus. Prepare them ahead of time. Start them out slowly. Lots of water, 1 capsule at a time. Don't rush. 2. So where is your customer care in all this, mainly with these? So, again, coming back to questions. Now I'll just go over a few about the team. I'm no good at sales. I don't want to sell anything. Well, I just got that. I was in Ohio doing an event. We did a little social afterwards, and the girl sitting next to me, she has a franchise. She's not sharing. I'm like, Dawn, you have a great personality. Why aren't you sharing your stuff? She says, I'm no good at sales. I said, well, you just watched 4 people share their story. Were any of them salespeople? And she said, well, no. I said, well, what did they do? I was asking her questions like, well, one's a teacher, one was a nurse, and, you were a personal trainer. I said, okay, and what do you do? And so I just started asking her questions about herself, about her life, about what she saw. I often will say, oh, my gosh, I'm so glad I'm not looking for salespeople. And I'll pause. So sometimes, that's not a question, but, a good statement that will encourage that person to keep talking to you. Maybe they say, I don't have time. And I'll just say, oh, my gosh, I know you're busy. Tell me about some of the things that you're involved in. The idea here, folks, is to keep the conversation going. Don't let what they say shut you down. And the way that you deal with that is to just ask a question that will allow them to be the talker and not you. So we continue just to be getting these same things circled around. And once you develop these as skills, I promise you, they won't feel hard. They'll feel natural. So at first, when you know you're going to do follow-up, maybe pull the sheet that we're going to share out. Go over a couple of the objections they might ask. Be ready for those questions. Maybe also be okay with a little bit of air, like that. It's okay for there to be a little bit of silence as you think about your response. Instead of just what most people do, they get nervous and they just start talking. And that's what I wanted to share with you tonight. So I want to end with a few sales statistics so we'll let you know how important it is to us that we never lose you because you're afraid of follow-up and that you're afraid of what people are going to do. Guess what? This might be worth writing down if you brought a pen, just to remind yourself. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. 48% of you are out sharing your story, and the rest of us are scooping up that business because we're doing the job, okay? Don't let that be you. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and then stop. 12% of people only make 3 contacts and stop. Only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 3% are made on the second, 5 on the third, 10 on the fourth. 80% of all sales are made on the 5th to the 12th contact. I know, it's crazy. That's why we have to be patient. We have to meet people where they're at. Talk to more people so you're landing on a couple of those 2%ers that buy right away. And to be honest, I pick the person that allows me to educate them any day, anyhow, because they're going to be rock solid when they start taking Juice Plus. Those 2% fall off way too quick because they were impulse buyers who didn't know what they were buying. So be patient, okay? And I'll end with a great quote from Calvin Coolidge. Nothing in the world can take place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. Go for the no. Thank you.
Bravo, Loretta. Bravo. I know that every person on this line is going, thank you, thank you. The verbiage that you did was fantastic. Yes, I need to get that sheet, make sure that it's the most updated version. We'll get that out to everyone. And every single thing that you taught us was so appropriate and perfect, and I loved it. I'll let everybody else on this line share how they're feeling as well. So hold on.